invent instrument music for themselves. Their concern is on their joy. They anoint themselves with oil. Their concern is their well-being. They don't care about the rest. And God said they will be the first to go into exile. Why? Because they were in the position to influence a positive change. They were in the position, in a privileged position to influence the positive change. And yet, they did not. All their concern was about themselves. And I'm sure they were the admiration of so many people at that time. Maybe perhaps everyone wanted to climb to that. Not to change the system, but to benefit themselves. Is this where the admiration of people that God come to say, woe to you? Woe to you. Because you were in the privileged position to influence a positive change and you did not. Instead, you focused on yourself. They were indifferent to the well-being of Judah, to the well-being of their society, to the well-being of the needy, to the well-being of the marginalized, to the well-being of those who were vulnerable. If we look into today's society, let's begin with the political system. They will talk so many good things, but at the end of the day, it's for themselves. People admire politicians. That's why this time we find that people are abandoning their professional careers to go into politics. Not because they want to influence a positive change of how to do in politics, but because they want to have a cake for themselves. Professional medical doctors, they abandon their career, they go to politics. Pastors, they abandon their career, I don't know if it's a career or vocation, they go to politics. Not because they want to go and influence a positive change, but because they want to have a cake for themselves. And as such, everyone is striving to climb the ladder. Not because I want to influence a positive change, but because of myself. As a result, the world becomes more and more insecure. Because I'm looking at the other person as the opponent that I need to defeat. If he's vulnerable, I want to use this as a stepping stone. And this is the society that we are living in. If you look at the police again in Africa, developments, they come so forceful during the election year. Not because it's for the good of the common people, but because they want to secure their position. That's how indifferent society has become to the common good, to the vulnerable of society. We can say, as we are not rich, as we are not politicians, so maybe we are safe. But anything that puts me in a privileged or advantageous position than the other person, that is my riches. But how do I use that to promote the common good? To be aware of the need of others. I might be in a privileged position. There's someone who is not. I might be in an advantageous position. There's someone who is not. But how am I using that privileged position to open my mind to the needy of society, to the needy of my brother, my sister, who is just at my doorstep? The rich man in the gospel did not insult Lazarus. He did not chase him out from his gate. He minded his business. But he was indifferent. Meaning, the needy will always be at our doorstep. The needy will always be in our midst. Let us not go and search far, but they're always in our doorsteps. As I said, how are we using our different privileges or advantages to help the one who is in need? We might be in a community where we are the majority. How much am I aware of the minority? We may dominate as the majority. How much am I aware of the minority? We may do things as normal without being aware, being conscious of how are we helping these people to get involved and to be noticed as well. It might be in the area of studies. My brother, my sister may be struggling in these studies. Because I am at an advantage, I know things, that is my riches. But how concerned am I to this poor brother, poor sister? So the poor or the vulnerable, the marginalized, they're always within our reach. As I say, anything that puts me in a privileged or advantageous position of the other person, that is my riches. But how do I use it so that it opens my mind, my heart, my eyes to see, my ear to hear the need of the other one who is not in that privileged position? Anything that puts me in a privileged position, that will be my riches. So we pray that we can be indifferent to the needs of others in so many ways. We can be indifferent to the need of others in so many ways. And life goes normal as it is. So it is an invitation for all of us to open our hearts, our minds, our whatever, to be sensitive to the needs of society. Sometimes the world is, people, we are becoming more and more self-centered in this materialistic society, where to be in control is the talk of the day. To be on top is the dream of everyone. Paul is inviting us to be men and women of God, whose focus is on righteousness, whose focus is on godliness, whose focus is on love, gentleness, and humility, who look up to Jesus, or who learn from God, as the prayer says, you manifest your power by pardoning. and loving mercy. You manifest your power. Jesus, though he was in the form of God, he emptied himself. He used his privilege as the Son of God to uplift those who are in need. That's why he emptied himself. The only way that we can fight this indifference to the needs of society, the needs of our brothers and sisters, is by learning to empty ourselves and see what am I contributing within my means, within my privileges, within whatever God has given me, because we are gifted differently. How am I using this to promote the common good, to uplift others? Or many other times that we use that which we have been given to manipulate everything towards me. Yesterday I was listening to the news. They were talking about the sextortion. That's the first time I heard that word. Sextortion. That is going on in the colleges, universities, where lecturers are taking advantage of students, mostly ladies, for marks, and they pay in kind, the influence. And it was being discussed that this is going in every university. The vulnerable, they are being taken advantage of. Because they are desperate, they have no one to talk about them on their behalf. They are thinking of their future. This lecture becomes so hard and necessary. Not because the student is not capable, but sometimes. So what does the poor girl does? She gives in for marks, taking advantage of the vulnerable. And as I said, these can happen in so many ways, even in our midst, of how the vulnerable, the poor, the rejected, the minority, whatever, they are taken advantage of. As long as I am getting what I'm getting, I'm thriving, it's okay with me. But the Lord is inviting us to open our eyes, our ears to the poor in our midst. As I said, they are in our midst. Lazarus was at the doorstep. As we see at the end, the poor man recognizes Lazarus when he was in need. That's when he says, oh, there's Lazarus. Brother Abraham, can you tell Lazarus, where was he always? Sometimes we only need the poor, the vulnerable, to use them as our stepping stones. Just as politicians will come with good voices, good promises to the poor. Once you vote them, it's okay, they'll come again with gifts here and there, and the unnecessary improvement starts. Not because they are concerned, because they want to make use of the poor. So there are so many ways that we, in our society, we can be blind or indifferent to the cry of the poor. As I said, the poor, let us not reduce it just to material things. They are all forms of being poor in one another. Anyone who is in a position of less privilege, less advantageous, is poor, or she is poor. But how do I use my being in a privileged position, advantageous position, to help and uplift the life of others? So may the Lord, who invites us to this realization, try to see How can we live in a society where sensitivity for the need grows each day? And once that does, there will be security in our society. Because I want to be looking at the other person as someone to step on so that I climb, but I look at the other person to uplift. And there will be true brotherhood, true sisterhood. And there, relationships will grow. There will be a chain of relationship. And once that is done, then there's security, there's harmony, there's peace.